Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 186 based on novel. So let's start. With one palm, Xiao Yan retreated from the 5-star fighting emperor. His face was expressionless and his eyes looked at Xu Songming again. The fighting spirit in his body ran quickly. Aware of this, the 5-star fighting emperor, known as Yuan Shi, couldn't help but have a violent twitch on his old face. His body moved. He quickly blocked Xu Songming's body. While his face was dignified, he quickly asked Xu Songming, "Master Xu, who the hell is this boy? How can you be so afraid?" He's a devil. This guy is a devil." Hearing Master Yuan's words, Xu Songming's fear was even worse. He held his twisted face in his hands, roared with trembling all over, and stepped back involuntarily. Hearing the speech, Master Yuan frowned. Although the cultivation of the people in front of him was a little better than him, he didn't scare Xu Songming like this. He might not be his opponent alone, but if Wang Xiong could be added, Xiao Yang might not be able to become their opponent under the joint efforts of two 5-star fighting emperors. It has never been seen since their debut that they can compete with two opponents of the same level on their own. "Master Xu, don't be nervous. If I'm here, I won't hurt you. As for this boy, don't worry. Let me deal with it," Master Yuan comforted and said, and then turned his eyes to Wang Xiong. At this time, the latter was also looking at him. They all knew the power of the young man in black in front of them. They also knew that the best way to deal with Xiao Yang was for them to work together to suppress the latter. As for the Fang family, even if Wang Xiong didn't do it himself, it was easy to deal with them. Now the only trouble in front of them is Xiao Yang. "Wang Xiong, you and I join hands to kill his spirit." "That's what I mean." Wang Xiong nodded heavily and his figure flashed. He came to Master Yuan's side and stared at Xiao Yang opposite. "Although I don't know who you are, since you are determined to intervene in this matter, don't blame me for their ruthlessness today." Wang Xiong drank coldly, and there was a 5-star fighting emperor beside him, which immediately reduced the pressure in his heart. Even if the person in front of him has extraordinary combat power, he is only a 5-star fighting emperor no matter how. In the same level, it is impossible for him to fight against two 5-star fighting emperors. "You two fools. You know nothing about his power." Xu Songming looked frightened and couldn't help but scold anxiously. Naturally, he knew that Master Yuan just wanted to show more in front of him, and the purpose was only for the pill in his hand. I'm afraid if it weren't for this, the latter couldn't be willing to protect his 8-star-and-a-half emperor. From the moment he first saw Xiao Yang, Xu Songming knew clearly that the dream of the Wang family to annex the Fang family had ended. Xiao Yang is like a nightmare. He ruthlessly smashes the beautiful dream that seems to be easy to realize in the hearts of all those who stand opposite him. After 2 meetings with Xiao Yang, Xu Songming could not avoid the latter. He thought Xiao Yang had been bound by the two families, but who could have thought that the result was not only contrary to his idea, but also shocking. At this moment, the only idea in Xu Songming's mind was escape. Escape from here, escape from all places related to Xiao Yang. If the latter exists, his so-called third-order herbalist is doomed to be unable to lift his head. At present, their actions have created a good opportunity for Xu Songming. He can take advantage of the gap between the two people and Xiao Yang and leave here. Xu Songming doesn't care about their life and death. If you don't do it for yourself, heaven will kill you. On the other side, Xiao Yang's face was expressionless in the face of Wang Xiong's shouting. If the Fang family has nothing to do with him, Xiao Yang naturally doesn't bother to take care of himself. However, unfortunately, the emergence of Yuan Qing is doomed that Xiao Yang will fight for the Fang family this time. Although Xiao Yang and Yuan Qing are not familiar, the 9-turn incarnation formula given to him by the latter has helped Xiao Yang more than once. Many times, Xiao Yang's heart can't help thinking of its original owner, which is a heartfelt thanks. Now, Yuan Qing is willing to fight all his possessions for the Fang family, and even is willing to fight with his life. This kind of pride moves Xiao Yang. Of course, in addition to this, Yuan Qing, as the deacon of Yangxianzong, is also one of the reasons for Xiao Yang's action, but no matter what, Today, the people present can't go back alive. His eyes swept over the two people in front of him, and then Xiao Yang's eyes fell on the strong fighters of the king's family behind him. Jin Ji, Wang Zhenyu, and the Su brothers, together with the two people in front of them, the Wang family has 6 strong fighting emperors. This lineup is 2 more than expected. If Xiao Yang were not present today, I'm afraid these people of the Fang family would be killed by the Wang family in an instant. You. Together, I don't have so much time to spend with you. A pair of dark eyes returned to the two people in front of them again. Xiao Yang said in a particularly calm tone. You. Since you don't know good or bad, let's go together. Wang Xiong's face was cold. Unexpectedly, Xiao Yang would say such boastful words. Immediately, he looked at each other with Master Yuan beside him. They nodded heavily, leaned forward and wanted to hand. Wait. At this time, Xiao Yang frowned and showed a look of impatience on his face. He drank the actions of the two people in front of him. Smell speech, Wang Xiong two people also can't help frowning. What idea does Xiao Yang want to make? You may have misunderstood me. I'm talking about the two of you, including the fighting emperors behind you. Let's fight together and make a quick decision. I don't have time to fight one by one. What? As soon as Xiao Yang said this, the Wangs were surprised, and their faces changed one after another. Especially the strong fighters in front of them were very surprised. They almost thought they had heard wrong. Xiao Yang unexpectedly wants to deal with the 6 strong fighting emperors of the Wang family alone? How is this possible? However, just when the Wang family was shocked, Xiao Yang, who stood in the void, turned violent. Almost at the same time, his steps suddenly changed, and Tianjue's step showed up in an instant. Then, Xiao Yang's body appeared in front of Wang Xiong. He clenched his palm into a fist, and his strong strength condensed rapidly in the palm. When the fist wind passed, it made a loud breaking wind in the void, and hit Wang Xiong's chest heavily. Damn it! What a terrible speed! Wang Xiong was shocked in his heart and his face changed. At the same time, he also rushed to hit Xiao Yang's fist. Just as Xiao Yang and Wang Xiong were about to meet each other, when everyone's attention was focused on the two people, Xu Songming also tried his best to restrain his breath and retreated towards the rear of the team. After a brief collision, Xiao Yang and Wang Xiong withdrew a few steps backward. Then, just as Xiao Yang's step stopped, Master Yuan's body came forward and fell heavily towards Xiao Yang's chest. In the face of this man's attack, Xiao Yang's face was calm, and his body seemed to turn slightly to one side without trace. Soon, Master Yuan's powerful palm was close to the black robe Xiao Yang was wearing, seemingly passing by. Master Yuan was slightly surprised. Just as he was about to leave and fly away, Xiao Yang suddenly raised his fist and shouted in his heart. He was determined to show his strength in an instant. A powerful fist fell heavily on Master Yuan's chest. Poof! Master Yuan's face turned red in an instant. Then, with a mouthful of blood, he couldn't help gushing out of his mouth. At the same time, his body fell down uncontrollably. This single blow is enough to make the latter lose all combat power in a short time. It can be imagined that Xiao Yang's blow was terrible. After a short experience in the desert, Xiao Yang's physical strength has been improved again. Now, only by physical strength, ordinary strong fighters are no longer regarded by Xiao Yang. In addition, Xiao Yang is invincible in the same level. Shua. On the other side, Wang Xiong's dry palms were bent into claws. At the moment when Yuan Shi was shot down, the attack in his hand had come behind Xiao Yang. The pure fighting spirit condensed rapidly at his fingertips, like sharp spikes. Where he passed, even the void was marked with 5 black cracks, which showed the horror of Wang Xiong's blow. Bone-etching claw. With the low cry from Wang Xiong's mouth, the claw had been pressed on Xiao Yang's neck. Die. Seeing that Xiao Yang didn't have time to respond, Wang Xiong was very happy. As long as he solved Xiao Yang in front of him, the Fang family didn't get it. Hiss. However, when Wang Xiong's claws fell, what appeared under his claws was not red blood, but a piece of disturbance, a remnant fragment. Residual shadow. Suddenly, Wang Xiong was shocked. When his body was about to retreat, an extremely cold feeling suddenly rose from behind. For a moment, Wang Xiong's whole heart was mentioned in his throat. At such a strange speed, he is really just a 5-star dude. Wang Xiong couldn't help thinking in horror, but now the current situation is tense, but he can't tolerate any hesitation. Die. Just at the moment when the cold feeling rose behind him, Wang Xiong suddenly turned around and scratched his claw hard behind him. The invisible void burst like a thin piece of paper and was torn apart by Wang Xiong's claw. What? No. Ah. But at the next moment, in another place, in the crowd of the Wang family, one of the Su brothers was suddenly tight, his face was red, his eyes were congested, his pupils enlarged rapidly, and his vitality dissipated rapidly at this moment. Big brother. One side, another one of the Star's Emperor's mouth, even if he couldn't help roaring, watched the people around him fall, but they didn't find out when Xiao Yan came out from the beginning to the end. Such a body method can be called a ghost. All the people of the Wang family could not help swallowing a mouthful of saliva, and they immediately felt a deep sense of fear. They gushed out uncontrollably. Some people of the Wang family turned pale with fear that they would follow the footsteps of their predecessors in the next moment. As for Jin Ji and others, they realized that what Xiao Yang had just said was not empty words. With his strength alone, he was indeed able to deal with their 6 strong fighting emperors. From the strength shown by the latter, I'm afraid even if they were combined, they might not be his opponent. Is he a man or a ghost? Is he a man or a ghost? One of the surviving Su brothers couldn't help shouting with fear. He even regretted why his 2 brothers had participated in the Wang family. However, there is no regret medicine in world. Shua. Then the next moment, somewhere above the void, Xu Songming, who was running away from Helan City, suddenly appeared in the void in front of Xiao Yang in black. Ah! Xu Songming's expression on his old face suddenly changed dramatically. He turned quickly and fled in panic. However, no matter how long he turned in place, Xiao Yang's body always stood in front of him, making him unavoidable. Even if I beg you, let me go. What happened between us is just some misunderstanding. I'll apologize to you. You won't kill them all. Xu Songming's old face was as white as paper, and his fear made his body tremble, but he was still unwilling to roar. However, in the face of Xu Songming's unwilling roar, Xiao Yang was expressionless. His palm was raised and the palm was facing the latter. At the same time, behind Xiao Yang, a huge virtual shadow also stretched out his palm and shrouded Xu Songming. The invisible pressure made Xu Songming's pale face appear a red color. The powerful force seemed to hold his whole life in the palm of his hand. At the moment, Xu Songming has no doubt that as long as Xiao Yang is willing, he can kill him here in an instant. Xiao Yang. You can't kill me. I'm from the Herbalist Alliance. If you kill me, the Herbalist Alliance will never let you go. You can't kill me. Noisy. Under this strong pressure, Xu Songming's heart became more frightened, and just as the crazy roar fell in his mouth, Xiao Yang suddenly held his outstretched palm tightly. For a moment, the latter's body burst in front of Xiao Yang and turned into a scarlet blood mist. At the same time, a solid soul also appeared in Xiao Yang's hand. This is Xu Songming's soul. However, under the strong pressure of Xiao Yangang, the latter's soul has passed out. Hiss. When his mind moved, the white flame in the palm of his hand suddenly rose. Just for a moment, it wiped out Xu Songming's spiritual knowledge. In this way, there is only a group of soul origin in Xiao Yang's hands at the moment. After finishing these, Xiao Yang's eyes turned around and looked at the remaining 5 people again. In his eyes, the forest white flame gradually climbed up. Shua Shua. 3 successive layers of black painted tents condensed out. Xiao Yang's body passed through the tents at a high speed. By the time he had appeared in front of Wang Xiong. In the frightened eyes of the latter, Xiao Yang's eyes looked at each other. At the same time, the palm covered by Sen's white flame fell on the latter's neck. Then, in Wang Xiong's old eyes, the pupils gradually enlarged. When all the vitality in Wang Xiong's eyes dissipated, the bone spirit cold fire covering Xiao Yang's palm also spread out, quickly covering the latter's whole body, and then with a bang, Wang Xiong's body was burned into nothingness by different fire. Under Xiao Yang's palm, what is caught in his hand at the moment is the origin of the latter. Receive it into the ring. Then, Xiao Yang turned his eyes and looked at the other people. Seeing Xiao Yang's eyes, Jinj and others were immediately worried. A deep sense of fear also rose rapidly from the bottom of their heart. The horror of the people in front of them is the only thing they have seen in their life. With the cultivation of the 5-star fighting emperor, he can kill the strong at the same level so easily. Looking at the whole continent, who else can do it? Until then, they understood why Xu Songming was so frightened when he saw Xiao Yang, because he clearly knew that none of the strong fighters present could be his opponent. Even if they were rubbed together, they could not cause any trauma to Xiao Yang. He is so terrible. What now? Jinj thought in horror, but he thought about it. Now he can't do anything except escape. At this time, Xiao Yang's eyes fell on Master Yuan, who had temporarily lost the power of World War I, in the lower city. At this time, the latter, after seeing the horror of Xiao Yang, wanted to escape from the city. With the help of the surrounding crowd, he may be expected to leave here. It's just that Xiao Yang doesn't intend to let him leave. Whoosh! With the exertion of Qianjuabu, almost for a moment, Xiao Yang appeared in front of the crazy running Yuan teacher at this time. The sudden appearance of Xiao Yang immediately blocked the way in front of Mr. Yuan. A pair of dark eyes contained cold colors, and there was no emotion on his indifferent face. Ah! Master Yuan was shocked, and his already pale face became extremely white at this moment. This big adult, it seems that we didn't meet before. Today's affairs are just some misunderstandings. Why don't we take this opportunity to make friends? In addition to panic, Master Yuan quickly forced out an ugly smile on his face and said with a flattering smile, but he didn't know how frightened he was in his heart at the moment. Making friends? Not interested. The plain 6 words have explained Xiao Yang's mood at the moment. At the same time, he raised his hand and aimed his palm at Master Yuan's throat. It seems that he is going to grasp each other in the palm of his hand. At the same time, Master Yuan also felt a terrible pressure from the space around him, which was given to him by the power image. Damn! Do you have to kill me? Master Yuan roared in horror, but Xiao Yang ignored it. His palm clenched up. His invisible big hand also controlled the latter's body at this moment. Bastard! If you want to kill me, you have to be buried with me. Both left and right were dead. Master Yuan simply gave up his mind and thought. Suddenly, the fighting spirit in the cyclone in his body rioted wildly at this moment and quickly poured into all corners of Master Yuan's body, making the latter's body under Xiao Yang's control sound quickly. Look at this, this guy seems to want to explode. Oh, self-explosion. In this regard, Xiao Yang's face remained the same. Immediately, his clenched palm suddenly exerted force. Before the fighting spirit in Master Yuan's body could spread, Xiao Yang had already pinched and exploded the latter with a bang by virtue of his efforts. As before, Xiao Yang never let go of the sole origin of the latter. Although he killed another person who had nothing to do with it, Xiao Yang had no burden in his heart. This is the Western Wasteland. There is fighting here almost all the time. There is no need for compassion for anyone here. As long as you are sure to kill each other, there is no reason at all. Here, itself is a place of killing. Kindness and compassion will only harm Xiao Yang himself. Xiao Yang has already understood this thoroughly. Which of these people he killed is not burdened with a lot of blood debts? In this Western Wasteland, which of them is not called a cruel person and does everything without reservation? Today, Xiao Yang just treats him in his own way. Turning around, when Xiao Yang looked at Jinj and Wang Zhenyu again, they were already facing a great disaster. Why did they take care of the family? They were not living for themselves. It's just a pity. Escape. Is it useful? The tone in his mouth was cold and sneered. Then, Xiao Yang's heart moved, and the 4 tents condensed in an instant. Almost at the same time, Xiao Yang's body appeared behind Wang Zhenyu and Jin Ji. Until this time, the 2 people reacted. Their eyes hurriedly swept over the 2 Xiao Yang. They were very frightened. Which one of them is true? Just when they were terrified, in another place, in front of the other Star Emperor, Xiao Yang suddenly appeared, almost instantly, and killed the latter easily with Bone Spirit Cold Fire. Residual Shadow. When they saw Xiao Yang appear in front of the Star King, they were suddenly determined. The person in front of them must be a residual shadow. At present, they rushed away recklessly to the distance. However, just when the two were about to run away, their ruthless palms pierced their chests. The terrible destructive force burned their bodies in an instant until the vitality in their eyes dispersed. They didn't know how these two so-called residual shadows could have attack power. Taking the two incarnations back into his body, Xiao Yan put away the origin of their souls with one hand. Of course, at the same time, there are also their acceptance precepts. So far, the 6 strong fighting emperors in the field were all killed by Xiao Yan in less than a quarter of an hour. Until now, some of the families on both sides have not calmed down. This kind of almost rolling battle is really unimaginable. Everything in front of us is like an illusion, which seems so unreal. Just when everyone was stunned, Xiao Yang flashed and came to Yuanqing. Patted the latter on the shoulder and smiled. "Then I'll leave the rest to you." Xiao Yang seemed to smile at will. His body moved and fell into the Fang family residence below. Mutter. In the sky and on the earth, everyone couldn't help swallowing a mouthful of saliva. Then, there was the sound of fighting filled with ecstasy and panic, which was whispering over Helan City. As for Xiao Yang, who had captured so many booty at this time, he could not help but want to see it, especially those soul origins. If they were swallowed up by the ancestor Xiao Xian, I don't know whether he can wake them up. Holding the expectation in his heart, Xiao Yang rushed into the Fang family residence below. Fang's residence. In the room, Xiao Yang's body is sitting on the bed. In the void in front of him, there are 7 milky white light groups of different sizes. These 7 light groups are the sole origin of the 6 strong fighting emperors and Shu Songming. For the origin of their souls, Xiao Yang accepted them all impolitely. Among the 7 regiments, only Shu Songming has the largest soul power. As a third-class herbalist, it is difficult for even the strong fighting emperor to compare with him in terms of soul power. Of course, the soul power contained in the other 6 milky white light groups will not be inferior. If the ancestors of Xiao Xian swallowed up the origin of these souls, they should be able to wake up. Xiao Yang looked forward to the 7 light groups in front of him, and his heart was filled with sigh. Along the way, Xiao Yang has refined the soul origin of many semi-imperial strongmen and swallowed up all of them by Xiao Xian, but the final result is very little. Xiao Xian's own state has been extremely poor. Therefore, he has higher requirements for the origin of the absorbed soul. In the eyes of ordinary people, it has been regarded as an extremely pure source of soul, but Xiao Yang must refine it again until the final source of soul can be absorbed at will. The gentleness and purity of that source of soul, even a newborn baby, can easily bear. It is precisely because of this that the source of every soul Xiao Yang gets can be used by Xiao Xian in the end, but it is very few. However, the emperor is worthy of his heart. After a long period of refining, the remnant soul of Xiao Xian has changed from the initial thumb size to a palm-sized milky white light mass. Moreover, due to the extreme cohesion of the origin of the soul, the origin of Xiao Xian's soul is unusually thick. The only pity is that even so, it is still a lot worse from the real recovery of Xiao Xian. Now, with the origin of the souls of the 7 strong fighting emperors, Xiao Yang has a greater grasp in his heart. Maybe Xiao Xian can wake up after swallowing these origin of souls. As soon as I thought of this in my heart, Xiao Yang's face showed an excited smile. He has waited too long for this day. Looking at the 7 light groups in the void in front of Xiao Yang's eyes, Xiao Yang's mind moved. He only heard a puff. Sen white flame immediately rose in the void in front of him. With Xiao Yang's mind control, the flame quickly wrapped the 7 light groups. With the help of the high temperature of the flame, Xiao Yang began to refine the soul origin of the 7 groups. In the outside world, with the fall of the emperor fighting strongman of the Wang family, the Fang family suddenly seemed to collapse. In the face of the attack of the Fang family, the strongman of the Wang family was unable to resist. In a short moment, dozens of semi-emperor strong men of the Wang family were killed, and the Wang family residence was empty in an instant. However, except a small part, the vast majority of the Wang family strong men, they were all killed by the Fang family. In short, from today on, there will be no Wang family in Helan City. The Fang family will become the only family in Helan City, and all these changes are only because Xiao Yang is sitting in the Fang family's residence at the moment. After today's events, the name of Xiao Yang will make the first shot in this western wasteland. In the morning, the Fang family had occupied the original residence of the Wang family, including the countless treasures accumulated by the Wang family over the years. In an underground dark room of the Wang family, Yu Yu and Yuan Qing almost stared at all this in front of them. The eye was full of bright spots. Countless spiritual coins piled up like a mountain. Even the low-level spiritual stones had hundreds of them. There were countless kinds of fighting skills, which were arranged by their own categories. Under their general exploration, in the fighting skills here, the fighting skills of human-level skills alone add up to nearly 100 volumes. Even the fighting skills of spiritual-level skills also have more than 30 volumes. Coupled with countless medicinal materials and alternative materials, the wealth listed in front of them at the moment is not as good as the foundation of his whole Fang family. Tut tut. Over the years, the Wang family has done a lot of harmful activities openly and secretly. The strength of the family has also improved by leaps and bounds, but unfortunately, it is still empty after all. The Wang family is extremely greedy and cunning. It's retribution to have such a result. This is not retribution, but their own iniquity and can't live. Equation scolded coldly. His eyes flashed again from the dark room. Naturally, there was no need to say more about the palpitation in his heart, but in the end, he didn't touch anything in the dark room. Let's go. Don't touch the things here first, or wait until adult Xiao Yang has seen it. Equation's heart is very clear that in today's battle, the Fang family can eradicate the Wang family at one fell swoop. This is not the strength of his Fang family, but the cheapness of Xiao Yang. If the latter doesn't do it, the current Wang family is the end they should have. It was for this reason that the equation prevented the elders of Fang family from pouring into the dark room one after another. At the same time, unconsciously, even the name of Xiao Yang changed again. The strength Xiao Yang showed today was enough to make him look sideways, not to mention the elders of the Fang family who were not strong enough to fight the emperor. For the equation, none of the family elders behind him dared to oppose it. Then, these people withdrew from the dark room in good order. On the other side, Xiao Yang is also madly refining the origin of the 7 groups of souls in front of him. In the middle of the eyebrows, the huge soul power constantly gushes out, the fighting spirit surges wildly, and the different fire rises. The origin of the soul of the 7 regiments is under the high-temperature refining of the terror of different fire, and the impurities in it are gradually refined. Even a part of the soul power that is not pure enough is also stripped out by Xiao Yang without hesitation under this refining. It is for this reason that the refining process of the origin of the 7 regiments' souls has become extremely slow. Generally speaking, the refining of the origin of the 7 regiments' souls can only take 2 or 3 hours at most, but this time, I'm afraid even Xiao Yang didn't expect that it took half a month to refine the origin of the 7 regiments' souls. In this half-month, the people of the Fang family had to wait patiently. At first, they thought something had happened to Xiao Yang, but when they felt the almost terrible soul pressure from Xiao Yang's room, the doubts in the hearts of the people were immediately dispelled. As for the dark room of the Wang family, it has been closed for a long time with Xiao Yang's closure. It seems that as long as Xiao Yang doesn't go out, he will never open the dark room. Buzzing, buzzing. At a certain moment half a month later, in Xiao Yang's room, the 7 groups of souls suspended in front of Xiao Yang suddenly trembled. Immediately, under Xiao Yang's control, they didn't bring the slightest waves and perfectly integrated together. The appearance of this scene proves that up to now, the origin of the 7 regiments' souls has finally been thoroughly refined by Xiao Yang. In the room, Xiao Yang closed his eyes for half a month, and finally opened it slowly at this moment. Although he didn't rest for half a month, under the bath of this huge soul power, Xiao Yang not only didn't feel any fatigue, but also made his state always at the top, even the soul power increased a little. The heart reads a move, and the soul pressure diffused outward is absorbed into Xiao Yang's body. His eyes are raised. Xiao Yang looks at the front, a milky white light mass the size of a football. This light group is the result of the final refining and condensation of the 7 soul sources. In spite of this, The overwhelming majority of the soul power of the 7 regiment soul is consumed in vain, but what is eventually acquired is also the essence of the essence. Once the soul of Xiao Xian devours the soul of these souls, perhaps it will be the awakening moment of the latter. However, this process can't come in a hurry. With previous experience, Xiao Yang clearly knows that if he wants to wait for the latter to completely devour the origin of the soul, he may have to wait at least another month. Although Xiao Yang can't control himself due to the excitement in his heart, it can't be changed unless Xiao Yang doesn't mind what happens to Xiao Xian's ghost. As soon as the palm turned over, suddenly, with the light in Xiao Yang's palm, a milky white energy light group with the size of a palm appeared in Xiao Yang's palm. With the growing of the soul origin of this group, Xiao Yang can finally detect a different breath hidden in the deepest place. That breath is Xiao Xian. Although the breath is still very weak, Xiao Yang believes that one day soon, the latter will wake up completely. Ancestors, I've been waiting for this day, but I've been waiting too long. At the thought of this, Xiao Yang's eyes could not help but blush slightly. His hands carefully held the residual soul in his hands. Xiao Yang slowly contacted it with the extremely pure soul source in front of him. At the moment of contact between the two groups, on the origin of the two souls, they emitted a gentle soft light. Soon, the two were like big balls and small balls, merging with each other. After finishing this and confirming that it was correct, Xiao Yang breathed a sigh of relief. His body moved, got off the bed and walked towards the door. At the moment, outside his door, the two people seemed to be a little impatient. When Xiao Yang opened the door, 2 people were standing in front of the door. They were Equation and Yuanqing. Lord Xiao Yang finally came out. If you don't come out again, we should all think something has happened to you. As soon as he saw Xiao Yang, his frown was immediately removed, and he quickly changed into a respectful smile. Yuanqing on the side was also helpless to smile and didn't say much. He was just a little surprised when he looked at Xiao Yang. I'm fine. Thank you for your concern. But what's the matter with you waiting for me here? With a smile, Xiao Yang looked at the Equation in an interrogative tone. As early as a few days ago, his external soul power had found that the 2 people often stood in front of his door and seemed to be waiting for him, which made Xiao Yang feel puzzled. Hihi, it's not a big deal. Just half a month ago, we destroyed the Wang family and found the treasure house of the Wang family. We dare not act rashly. I hope Lord Xiao Yang can go and have a look. Of course, the things inside are naturally decided by Lord Xiao Yang. Hearing this, Xiao Yang's eyes flashed slightly and his heart suddenly understood that this guy was playing this idea for fear of provoking him to anger, so he didn't dare to move anything in the Wang family's treasure house. But listen to his words at the end. If Xiao Yang didn't leave something for their Fang family, it would be Xiao Yang's fault. Well, I'll go and have a look. If there's anything I can use, I'll take some. Xiao Yang smiled and immediately came to the treasure house originally called the Wang family under the leadership of the Equation. When Xiao Yang came here, he was surprised at the first sight of the exquisite treasures. The Wang family is a big family in the end, and the inside information is really good. Compared with the goods like the Lin family in Shenzhen, they are more than several times stronger. However, compared with Xiao Yang, they are naturally inferior. His eyes searched the treasure house quickly, especially when Xiao Yang noticed the well-preserved herbs. Rao was determined by his strength, and his eyes couldn't help showing a hot look. The medicinal materials in this treasure house are enough for Xiao Yang to refine nearly 100 third-order pills. Even, under Xiao Yang's careful exploration, there are several high-order medicinal materials used to refine fourth-order pills. Xiao Yang was not polite to those herbs. In front of them, he collected all of them into Naji. When they saw this, they couldn't bear to pick their eyebrows. After looking at each other, they looked at Xiao Yang in surprise. Lord Xiao Yang, are you still a herbalist? Hearing the Equation, Xiao Yang seemed to suddenly find it. Looking at the latter, he smiled and nodded non-committally. Then he turned his head again and took away a small part of all the things he thought could enter the eye. The rest was naturally left to the Fang family. Among those items, Xiao Yang took away nothing more than the medicinal materials used to refine the 4th-level elixir and several volumes of advanced spiritual skills. Although these items are undoubtedly the most precious of all the things on the scene, the wealth Xiao Yang left to the Fang family is much more precious than this. As for the spiritual stone and elixir, Xiao Yang is simply not interested. There are still a lot of spirit stones on Xiao Yang's body. The inside information is several times more than those in front of him. As for the pills, let alone Xiao Yang himself, a third-class herbalist, even the inventory in his ring is not comparable to those in front of him. However, in just a few minutes, Xiao Yang had collected his things and left the treasure house in the surprised eyes of the two behind him. That's all he takes. Seeing Xiao Yang's thunder like this, I was surprised. You know, everything in the treasure house can be listed by the old guy Wang Xiong himself. What he can earn here must be priceless, even priceless treasures. In Xiao Yang's eyes, are there only so many valuable treasures? Or does the latter intend to leave these to their Fang family? After a little thought, the equation is to choose the latter. After all, there are so many treasures in this treasure house. Even if he is a 5-star fighting emperor, he can't be moved. The reason why Xiao Yang doesn't take it is that he deliberately left it to his Fang family. As soon as I thought of this in my heart's favor and respect for Xiao Yang suddenly rose at this moment. However, how could he know that all the treasures in this treasure house are the treasures of the town family in his eyes, but in Xiao Yang's eyes, they are no more than you? After collecting those things that can be regarded as eye-catching, Xiao Yang soon returned to Fang's house. In the room, Xiao Yang's palm turned and 8 rings appeared in the palm. The 8 rings were looted from Wang Xiong and others. Except for Xu Songming holding 2, the rest were 1 for each person. After reading the treasures in the treasure house, it's time to see what can be carried by these 7 guys. What's the value? This video will end here.